done it! I cannot believe it! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again!
Hello everyone, we're Through on Goal, a podcast where we talk about football and pretty much nothing else. My name is Sam, and as always I'm joined by my best friend and co-host Elliot. Hello Elliot.
Hello.
I added best friend to it. I want people to know our relationship. We're not just two people that know each other. Yeah. How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been a good week, but it's been a long week. It's just been counting down the days until the football that we know and love is back.
Wednesday.
Football's been back for a little while, sort of Germany. There's been a few leagues come back over the last week, but our bread and butter comes back on Wednesday.
Oh, you're getting me all tingly inside. I cannot wait to see it. Yes, Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two playoffs. Couple of controversial moments in that.
Yep.
The Liga returned. Coppa Italia returned with, well, I say Coppa Italia returned. It returned very boringly and a little bit of kung fu. And then,
Yeah.
that was fun. And then to go over this podcast, we're going to review the season so far. We're going to have a bit of a recap of the whole Premier League season. A bit of Premier League years-esque, so to speak. Go through what's happened, build up to it. And then, yes, Wednesday, game in hand, man. Well, there's two game in hand, sorry. Sheffield United versus Aston Villa and Man City versus Arsenal, which I'm sure most eyes are going to be on that game rather than Sheffield United. I mean, people are going to watch it because it's the first game back, but...
And also that you don't have to choose. You can have both. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah, that's it. One kicks off at 6, one kicks off at 8. We are
amazing.
Sorted.
Yeah.
Absolutely sorted. So, coming on to that then, Premier League returning. It's really, really happy. Obviously, what's going on in the world is still not back to normal. It's still not great. Yeah. But there's that little bit of normality that returns that, yes, there will be some, obviously, midweek games, but the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, is going to be spent sitting on that sofa just watching Premier League football.
Yes.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, it's coming back. Like you say, it's Saturday, Sunday, although slightly different to most Saturdays and Sundays. It's one game after another, rather than just 5 games at once.
Yeah, I know most of my Saturdays are spent. I watch the midday game. I choose between either the Championship on Sky or BT or with the Premier League. Depends on who's playing. Get a feel. And then it's Jeff.
Yes.
3
Jeff
o'clock.
And the boys.
Jeff until 5:30. Yeah. Jeff and the lads. I miss them. Yeah. I can't wait to see them back. Well, the thing is, are we even going to see them back? I think each game is being played one after the other. I don't think they will.
And I presume, because the Championship's still going to stay with the majority as sort of Saturday 3 o'clock games, but presumably they're not going to come back just for 8 Championship games a weekend.
No, we might have to wait till next
season. But at least we've got football to watch.
At least we still watch. Yeah, at least we're watching the football. It's a good substitute.
Yeah, definitely.
And then Jeff, and then I'd watch the Saturday night game, whatever was on it, straight after. Exactly. And then Sunday, you got your Super Sundays. Tell you what, I can't. This is a hell of a Super Sunday, isn't it?
I think it's 4 games rather than.
Oh man,
there's the occasional Super Sunday. You might get 3 if you're lucky, but.
Yeah,
4.
One of them won't be televised though. One of it, it's always the one that's not televised that turns out to be the 4-5 game.
There'll be 2 0-0s that are on Sky, and then there'll be Wolves against Arsenal that finishes 5-2 that nobody's watching.
Yeah, Chelsea versus Man United, big build up, big screen, big effects, everything like that. It's 0-0. Then you've got like Watford versus Aston Villa, which turns out to be the game of the season. 4-3 Watford.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, but it's just good to see. It's going to be different. Obviously, we've had a bit of a feel of football without a crowd.
Yep.
Bundesliga. It is different.
Yeah.
It does feel a bit different. However, they have started to add crowd effects, which I don't mind. I don't know about you. I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I kind of see both sides. I do prefer it to just being silent.
Yeah.
But I do kind of see from the standpoint of a fan that goes to a load of games that the TV companies and everything like that, they see us fans as replaceable. But...
Okay, yeah, I never really saw it like that, yeah.
But I do prefer it. I do prefer having the sound. And to be fair, they've done it quite well. Like I was watching La Liga and Bundesliga this weekend, and they've got it so that it's kind of dynamic. So then when there is a controversial decision, they will all sort of boo and hiss, and then when there's a goal, they'll celebrate.
Yeah, where the keeper makes a good save, there's some clapping and stuff. No, I did notice that, and it's the kind of thing where, obviously, if you are literally 90 minutes watching the screen, fair enough. But everyone kind of goes on their phone every now and then. during the football. If it dies down a little bit, you're checking your phone, checking Twitter, see what people are saying. And if it's just silent, you can't just
zone out a little bit, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Whereas if crowds happening, you still have that feel of the football going on. And
Although
I liked it. I personally,
although with the Premier League, I wouldn't necessarily mind it having no sort of artificial crowd added, because the Bundesliga, I don't know about you. Well, I think I do know about you. My German is non-existent. See,
yes, Spanish, German, French, you name it, can't say it.
See, I would quite like to hear Sean Dyche or Steve Bruce just constantly swearing at Mike Dean.
I didn't think of that. Yeah, that's fair enough. And you're not going to get that British feel of a microphone picking up like a 7-year-old screaming bloody murder at someone, and then Martin Tyler going, "We do apologise for the language you just picked up there." It's like, oh my god, we're at a football game. Just let them swear, for crying out loud. But obviously, footballers, sly tackling, and I'm sure there's going to be a few.
Yeah.
Effing and jeffins.
Yeah.
This is fun. I can't wait. But no, Sean Dyche, I can't wait to hear the raspiness of Sean Dyche on the touchline. Just having a go at Jay Rodriguez for no reason.
And like,
spot on Sean Dyche impression. Sorry, he's not a guest on the podcast. That was just me.
I know, for one, like championship games, there's 5 o'clock midweek kickoffs on that. So you can have Wayne Rooney at 5:30 on a Wednesday afternoon. Calling.
He looks match fit, doesn't he?
If he looks match fit, so do I.
That's why we did a podcast, not a vlog, so people can't see what we look like. They can just hear us.
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward. Do you think Liverpool are going to win the league Sunday? What are you seeing for the Man City game?
I think Man City will win it. I think Man City would have been one of the most intense teams throughout this whole situation. Pep Guardiola wouldn't allow sort of their standards to drop. So I fully expect them to beat Arsenal. And then...
Yeah, I can't see it.
Yeah.
I can't see them.
But then...
I can't see Arsenal
again, I see Liverpool winning against Everton. But yeah, I think Man City will be too good for Arsenal midweek.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's Arteta's first... he's coming up against Guardiola for the first time, so that's quite an interesting to see that happen. However, I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't see Arsenal winning. I think Arsenal need a transfer window, new season,
just
refresh,
kind of rebuild. Although there's talk that Aubameyang might not be around for too long. Is that kind of thing?
No.
So a refresh might be life without Aubameyang.
Which is difficult because Lacazette isn't exactly prolific.
No.
Shall I say? He hasn't.
They've got the youngster. I can't pronounce his surname.
Oh, yeah, N.K. Vowles. That's
Nketiah. Eddie Nketiah, that's it.
Yeah.
He was on loan at Leeds for the first half of the season and didn't really get played.
Yeah.
Well, whenever he played, he scored. But then Arsenal pulled him back because of lack of game time. And to be fair, he's played a little bit. He scored in the Premier League this season. So
seems to be maybe cementing a spot there.
I mean,
potentially looking as a replacement.
I mean, he's not quite a replacement to Aubameyang, who is verging on world class, but he's a positive look for the future for the Arsenal fans.
Kind of reminds me of a Troy Parrott for Spurs.
Right, yeah.
A lot of people when Kane went injured, obviously Son was played up front and he got sent off, or we'll come on to that. But then he played Lucas up front, but you got Troy Parrott who's scoring goals in the under 21s. But have a call up. And I know there's that link for potentially him becoming a Kane.
Yeah.
You've got to see what happens there. But very obviously Liverpool winning the league. Yeah, that's done. Man City, I'd say they're second. I can't. Leicester and Chelsea are kind of a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just can't wait.
No,
I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this for so long, and it's literally when people listen to this on Tuesday, it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow, yeah.
Football is tomorrow, so. Oh, I can't wait. And then this next Sky Sports do an advert over the next 6 weeks. There's 100 games just on Sky Sports. Now, that makes me excited from a personal reason because it's football. Yeah. But this podcast is going to be stacked.
Yeah, we're not going to be short on content at all.
No, we're not. But then I'm just worried about what happens when all the games finish. It's just like, right.
So
football happened.
Yeah.
No, we're just going to talk about our day.
Yeah.
So in line with that, of course, we talked about it last week. Championship is back.
Yeah.
That comes, that's starting again the 20th. One big interesting note to come from this week, I think, was we talked about it last week, a certain player refusing to play and Hull City fan that hosts this podcast thinking we might stay up. I'm going to come back now to you, Elliot.
Yep.
Lyle Taylor looks like he's actually going to play.
So it hasn't come out officially and said,
No.
I'm going to play, but there's sources that are saying that he has made a U-turn and he is going to play, which straight away, obviously, Hull City are more likely to stay up when Lyle Taylor isn't playing for Charlton.
Yep.
So in that term, it's a negative for us, but for any Charlton fans, I'm sure it's a massive, massive positive for them.
If it's true, yeah, exactly right.
If it is true, because he could be the kind of player that now with a new club looking on wanting to sign him, he can use these games to try and impress them. And if he goes on and scores 4 or 5 goals in the remaining games, that could be enough to keep them up and send us down.
Well, I was gonna ask you, what do you think that if it is true that U-turn, it's Semi come out of, because he's saying how he doesn't want to be injured, he doesn't want to get injured for next Sousa. That seems to be the general report around him not playing.
Yeah.
Him now coming out saying, no, I will play. Now, I remember you text me saying that there's potential that, maybe his club have just said, that's fine, we'll sign you, just play, you've got a contract here no matter what. Or is it a case of, well, I don't like your attitude towards Charlton there. Prove us wrong. Or has a deal fallen through and maybe he just wants to try and score goals for other clubs?
Yeah, maybe. And maybe because there's this potential that there is a move coming soon, his new club might be saying, like, we don't want this bad PR. We don't want people saying, we've made you not play for your club. We don't want that. So potentially he's been told, you're going to get signed. Just keep doing what you're doing. And yeah.
We'll see. But I know I've still got, and I've gone with them from the start. Elliot is a witness to this. Every start of the year, responsibly, we put a bet on, a season bet of what we're going to say. And I had at the beginning of the season West Brom to win the league.
Yeah, West Brom to win the league.
Now, obviously, those bets have kind of voided off now because some things have ended how they shouldn't, so they've gone. However, I had a free bet. I thought, do you know what? I'll do an end of season bet. I've still gone West Brom to win the league. I've stood by them. They're a point off, still in with a shout. Leeds tend to have an issue with playing...
ending the season.
Not falling apart. Oh, sorry. Leeds seem to have, from what I've seen this season, an issue, and it's no disrespect to the clubs they've lost or lost points at, but they're teams that a team like Leeds, top of the table, should not be losing or not be dropping points to, I think. Yeah. I believe in they're my boys now. West Brom are my boys. Sorry, Mönchengladbach, out the way. West Brom going up. I still think they're going up. I think Leeds and West Brom are up. I think that's sorted.
I think you're probably right there.
Playoffs are a bit...
Playoffs are all up in the air. Yeah. There's maybe 2 or 3 places to play for still there.
Yes. And speaking of playoffs, League 1 and League 2, they've confirmed they've ended the season on points per game. Gillingham, top half, in 10th. Get in. Still think we dropped needless points against some teams. We're hovering around the playoff place at one point. I think it was either 4 or 6 points was the closest we got. We were there. A couple of dropped points, drawing too many games, I think. There's my Gillingham season review.
But I to touch on Gillingham, I know for a fact you'd have taken at the beginning of the season Gillingham to finish above Ipswich.
Yeah, whether it's ending the season or on a points per game, you told me at the beginning of the season, absolutely, I'll take it. I would have taken Gillingham finishing above Ipswich, maybe going up wise, not finishing 10th and them 11th.
Yeah.
However, I think that's a really good foundation for Evans to kind of 10th. That's good. Because Gillingham tweeted out, actually, it was something like 2015 season to 2020. It was like 19th, 17th, 13th, and this season 10th. We're making improvements. And I think given the right... We've got Bonham, Akinde, Ogle... Oh, God, I can never say his stupid name. Ogilvy.
Something like that, yeah.
There's a lot of... It's OG... Ivy or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, we got, those players are still in contract for another year. Max Amer, I think we're going to give a contract. He has to sign a contract. He's club captain. Yeah. Really hope so. It's a good foundation to build on. Evans seems to be confident that Scally's going to give him the funds to go forward, which if any Gillingham fans are listening to this, Okay.
Maybe.
Yes, Scally has funds, does he? Right, okay. Yeah. We're going to loan 10 people in, and then that's it.
Then a few frees.
Yeah, a few frees, yeah. Minimum wage. And then it seems the relationship that Evans and Scally has seems to be a relationship that I've not really seen at Gillingham for a while. That there tends to be a relationship. Like, you look at the managers before with Pennock, Taylor, and who was before Lovell. Before you think you didn't get the vibe that they had a relationship, whereas Evans just talks such high praise about Scally, and I know Scally does the same with Evans. I believe Evans towards the end of Lovell's reign started to watch a few games. I think they've always been kind of friends.
Yeah.
At the beginning, don't get me wrong, he came in with a bit of a reputation. Anyone that knows old big Steve Evans, he loves a wind-up. He absolutely loves a wind-up.
Yeah. He's one of those you love at your club, but you hate at anybody else's.
That's it. At work, I have a Mansfield fan I talk to, Stags fan, and I'm saying he's saying all the right. I remember saying to you at the beginning, he's saying all the right things. He seems to be making some decent signings. Wilcott from Man United, that was obviously start of the season. You're thinking that's solid signing, that. Not on a loan, solid signing. And they're like, oh no, get him out your club. No, he's awful. And then Peterborough, I know the chairman was quite vocal about Evans maybe draining the resources and stuff.
Right.
And obviously from an outside perspective, I think I kind of saw it. However, he's Gillingham, so I'll stick by him. He's at Gillingham. Yeah. He came in, it wasn't a good start to the season. I think he was still trying to find his starting 11. Still trying to get something going. It took us, how long did it take? A stupid amount of time to get an away win.
Right.
I think it was at Accrington Stanley. I think we got our first away win. But
I seem to remember. Yeah,
and it took ages, but we got there, and then that seemed to be something we started to build upon. We started to, coming into 2020, I think we were one of the only unbeaten teams within a certain period, and then obviously, West Ham, and then we kept on drawing a lot, but we weren't losing, and that's rare for Gillingham away from home. I think
they're becoming a very difficult team to beat.
Yes, I think that was kind of what we built upon, is that clubs like your Sunderland, your Portsmouth, potentially, we're looking at, it's Gillingham coming in.
Yeah.
Evans has really brought upon the defensive wise, like clean sheets. Yet again, a lot of them were 0-0s, so we weren't really firing. However, we weren't conceding, and again, that's always been a problem with Gills. Is last minute goals just seem to be conceded. Towards the end of the season, we were scoring the last minute goals. So to draw the game or win the game. So I think next season, I think it will be playoffs. I think Gillingham will be in the playoffs. I'm not going promotion.
Yeah.
Although that would be a dream.
Yeah.
But I think it will be playoffs. I generally think they'll be one of those teams that will do it.
Okay, so I'll ask you a question on sort of the improvement of the last season. At the end of last season, Gills lost Thomas Holly to Ipswich on a free.
Yes.
Brought in Jack Bonham. Would you say that's an upgrade, similar, or a slight downgrade? Because he was a big loss at the time, I remember.
Every time I watched Holly, he could not catch a cold.
Yeah.
And there was a few moments, I think in Slough, we were watching him train. We went to the away game at Slough, I think.
Yeah.
FA
Slough
Cup.
Town in the FA Cup.
Yeah. He was huge. You don't realise how tall he is.
Was he 6'8", 6'9"?
He's ridiculous. He's a mountain of a man.
Yeah.
And he really improved. I remember his first season at Gillingham, he was not good. He was not good. Mm-hmm. He just wasn't.
A bit kind of clumsy, wasn't kind of trustworthy.
That's it. And Simon Royce came in, former Gillingham goalkeeper, however, goalkeeping coach. And since he came in, he looked like he was improving him, and he was really showing to be that what you expect a 6'9" goalkeeper to be like. Not easy to beat.
Just a bit more dominant as well.
Yeah, and losing him to Ipswich, yes, it was a loss. Bonham coming in, I think he won Player of the Season at Bristol Rovers, I believe, the season before. I know you most famously know him from Watford v Leeds, which it was Leeds, wasn't it?
It was Leeds, yeah. It was Ross McCormack that chipped him. He was third choice keeper going into the game, and somehow 36, 38 minutes in, he finds himself on the pitch. He only found himself on the bench because he happened to be at the game.
Yeah.
And then Almunia, I think it was Almunia, got injured in the warm-up. And then another keeper, I can't think of his name, but whoever Watford's second choice keeper was, got sustained quite a serious injury in the first half. I think he was down for about 15 minutes.
Yes, I do remember that, yeah.
So from him just turning up as a fan or a player to then being on the pitch when they could perhaps get automatic promotion, yeah, it must have been a massive day for him. And in the nicest possible way, he did let his team down.
No, it wouldn't have helped his confidence.
And I'm glad that, because he was a young keeper at the time, I'm glad that a moment like that hasn't kind of stunted his career.
That's it, yeah. He came in, signed a contract, and again, looked a little bit, shaky at the beginning, but again, him, Connor
Ogilvie.
Connor Ogilvie and Matt Tamer, those three have really proved to be, even Barry Fuller on the right, like he's so consistent. I wouldn't say an improvement, definitely not a downgrade. I wouldn't say, if it's an improvement, it's probably like minuscule at this point in time. We'll see going forward. But right now, it's a good like for like. Do you know what I mean? Like we lost a decent keeper, but we seem to have gained one, which is good.
Would you say the sort of back three, as you said there, the two centre backs and the goalkeeper, maybe gels a little bit better than it did last year? A bit more chemistry between them, maybe.
Yeah, I think one of the issues last year was there was a few injuries in the centre backs. I know Zakuani,
yes.
Zakuani, good defender, really good defender, but he was quite injury prone. Ogilvie was he used to be left back, but then he's kind of come in as centre back and he's done a job. That was, I think that was Evans' first statement, was that he was on loan from Tottenham and he signed him. He signed him on 2 years, so that was a good start.
Yes.
I think, playoffs. I'm saying playoffs. Let's come back to this. Come back to this next year. Gillingham will be in the playoffs.
So, as this part did start as a discussion about League One and League Two, who do you think is going to get promotion from the two playoffs?
So, League One, I wouldn't say I've gone the obvious choice, but I've gone Fleetwood for League One.
Okay.
I think it'll be a Fleetwood-Portsmouth final.
Yep.
Oh, no, saying that. Yeah, Fleetwood-Portsmouth final. Oxford have done very, very well this season. Let's not discourage that. I think they're currently... Well, I mean, before the points per game, where Wycombe went into third, it was occupied by Oxford.
Yes.
Yeah, Oxford were third. I don't know. There's something about Fleetwood this season that I've just felt that they're going to go up. I don't know why. I don't know what it was, but
do you think maybe with Joey Barton in charge, they're maybe similar to how you see Gillingham at the moment? They've got that sort of no-nonsense manager who would want to kick every ball with them.
Well, also, punches other managers in the dugout, or whatever it was, the tunnel that he got charged with. He does seem to have that no-nonsense attitude. Because he started last season, didn't he, at Fleetwood? I think that was his first season, kind of mid-table. But then he seems to have really brought in a kind of aggression to Fleetwood's play that's, put them, rightly so, based on this season in the playoffs. I don't think Wycombe are going up. I don't think so at all. I said to you the other day, I think Wycombe are going in with this break, few loan players going back and everything. I think Wycombe will turn into what people were expecting Wycombe to be at the beginning of the season. Quite easy to beat. No disrespect to Wycombe. I just think they've had an incredible, stonking season. Amazing season.
Yeah.
Their first loss of the season was against Gillingham.
They were favourites to finish bottom at the beginning of the season, I believe.
And
they massively overachieved.
Yes, might have been like November or Christmas. Like they were still top of the league, or at least second, like in playoffs, just above the playoffs. And yet they've had a dip in form after Christmas. They did quite hit a dip in form in which they went down to like 7th or 8th, I think. They weren't in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Peterborough, on the other hand, were in the playoffs. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It was from 4th to 8th, I think we're on 59 points, and Oxford in 3rd were on like 60 or 61. So there was still like all to play for. It's not like Wycombe went down, and they were completely out of it, no hope in hell. They were still there. However, I know there's been a bit of controversy, sorry, shall I say, with Wycombe leapfrogging everyone into 3rd, which then pushes that table down, and Peterborough.
So yeah, they leapfrogged them because they had a game in hand.
Yeah.
Which, fair enough, points per game, that puts them above. But when you kind of look into it a little bit more, that game in hand is away to Coventry, who has just won the league.
Congratulations to Coventry, by the way. Every game away from home, and fair enough.
Yeah, included 2 legs of an FA Cup game, both.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. And now the Birmingham fans are going to have a league game away in their own ground next
Are they?
season.
Are they staying there? Do you know if Coventry are staying there next season? I think.
As far as I'm aware, they're staying at Birmingham next season.
Okay, interesting. Fair enough.
But yeah, fair play to them.
Absolutely.
They've deserved it. But yeah, with that game in hand, Wickham had kind of lost the momentum that they had.
Yeah.
Coventry were really gunning it, and chances are they wouldn't have won that game. Obviously, you can't guarantee that.
You can't say that now. Yeah.
But yeah, Wickham could maybe find themselves a little bit fortunate to be in the playoffs, but they had a very good season throughout. And
Very
good luck
good,
to
yeah.
them.
No, absolutely.
But yes, so
if they go through, great. Well done, congratulations. Yeah. But I think Fleetwood. And as for League Two, I'm going Exeter to go up. I think.
Okay.
I just think they're out of the playoff teams in the playoff. I just think they're the strongest, personally, of my opinion. What about you? What about your League One and League Two? What are you saying?
So League One, I probably am going for the obvious pick. I'm going for Portsmouth.
Okay.
I just think they've kind of been in those lower couple of leagues for quite a while now. They are the biggest club in that playoff group, and I think maybe this year will be their year that they get back into the Championship.
Yeah, I semi-challenged that purely because of the manager. I know Kenny Jackett isn't a popular man at Portsmouth. He gets the results, but it's just so boring when he gets them. I don't think he's a manager to build a long-term future on. He did well at Wolves, he got Wolves promoted, and no doubt he might still get Portsmouth promoted, but he doesn't go about it a fun way.
Right. Okay.
If he gets the results, then fair enough. But
yeah.
I just remember, because I've got a few Portsmouth fans I follow on Twitter. It's a lot of them aren't best pleased. He did seem to be trending after every Portsmouth game, so that's never a good sign, is it?
Yeah. In League Two, I'm going to go slightly different to you. I'm going to go Cheltenham because I think they won 5 of their last 6 games before the season stopped. They are in that 4th place, which is the top playoff position.
Yeah.
And I've kind of been following them a little bit throughout the season because Hull City got 2 youngsters on loan there.
Yeah.
Max Sheaf, who's kind of sort of an attacking midfielder. He can play on the wing, that kind of player. And a young centre-back with a huge future, Jacob Greaves.
Sound name. Strong name.
Strong centre-back name, that Jacob.
That's it. You watch out for my son when he's 18.
Jacob Greaves has been having a phenomenal season at Cheltenham, and I think he'd be in the shortlist for their player
Exeter
of the year.
were,
and
from what I remember, towards the beginning, a lot of the season, I think Exeter were like top of the league for quite a while of that. Looking at the playoffs, Northampton is an interesting one. Obviously, Colchester, Cheltenham, Exeter. Yes. It's all because Cheltenham and Exeter were 65 and 64 points, and then Plymouth and third were on 68. So they were still, and the Crewe and Swindon 69 points each. So before the season ended, it was still all to play for. It was still all there. Yeah, I just got Exeter. So yeah, well, we've gone quite different there. So that would be quite interesting to see.
And the interesting thing about the League Two playoffs is that they start on
Thursday. That's it, yeah.
So there's no Premier League games on Thursday.
Let's watch the League Two playoffs, and I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about next week. Obviously, because I like the fact that we've gone different. Definitely. So my boys Fleetwood and Exeter versus your boys Portsmouth and Cheltenham.
Yes. It'd be interesting if they both play in the final.
I'll play half and half scarf of Exeter and Fleetwood. I'm sure I can find one.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a quick roundup of the European games that happened. Obviously, big news: La Liga returned, Barcelona returned on form. Yes. Messi scoring because, of course, Braithwaite, the legend that is Braithwaite, scoring a goal. Yes. Fair play. They returned in style, didn't they? Barcelona's like they never left.
Yes. Yeah, very good. Also, one thing that I saw when looking at the results was so Arturo Vidal scored the first goal for Barcelona. He's on 7 goals this season, which I thought was quite a decent number. I hadn't realised that he'd noticed that. I hadn't realised that he'd scored that many. But he's only 1 goal behind Morata and only 1 goal behind Griezmann, and playing considerably less minutes and from midfield.
Are those league goals?
That kind of shocked me. Those are league goals. Yeah.
I never really.
Yeah,
I don't. I'm not going to make up that I watch a lot of La Liga. I don't. I keep an eye on it. And if there's a good game on, I'll watch it. But and again, if people are listening to this and thinking, "Wow, he clearly doesn't know what he's about to say," I do apologise. But he's not a starter, is he, Vidal? No.
No, and if he does start, he doesn't
yeah.
finish. He's always subbed on or off, one way or the other. But he's got a
Fair-
lot of goals
fair
this
play to
season
him.
for someone who hasn't played a lot of
play to him.
minutes.
And obviously you've got Real Madrid who returned in the start today as well, 3-0 in like 37 minutes. They were quite good on form there. 3-1 in the end, I think it ended.
Yeah, I think they took the foot
So
off the gas.
title race is still on, so there's no obvious title race there. We go to
Yes.
Coppa Italia. That was boring, wasn't it?
Yeah, so the first game, Juventus against AC Milan, finished 0-0. I think Juventus went through.
Ronaldo missed a
and-
penalty, didn't he?
Yeah, Ronaldo missed a penalty, and 30 seconds later, somebody's got a boot in the chest.
Someone's de Jong'd another player, yeah. Only this time there was,
Yeah,
there was an actual red card. Although interesting enough, because you said
this time-
we talked about this, the referee had a yellow in his hand. He literally kung fu
Yeah,
him to like
I think
before the
did he go-
coronavirus started. He's got a yellow card in his hand.
Did he go to the Howard Webb School of Bottling Decisions?
Yeah, he either bottle decisions or we give him 3 yellow cards before he gives a red.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Juventus did go through. I think yeah.
Yeah, and then in the other game, Napoli drew 1-0 with Inter. The biggest thing to come out of that game was Dries Mertens scored for Napoli, which meant he overtook Diego Maradona as Napoli's all-time record scorer.
Not a bad person to overtake, really, is it? That's quite that's quite an overtaking, isn't it? Yeah, fair play. It's interesting. It said that nothing really much to talk about until the Serie A does return fully. A couple of cup games, which is fair enough. Bundesliga, Bayern Munich again. You know
They do what they
do. Dortmund quite lucky. Haaland scored was it the last minute he scored, wasn't it?
It was 90th minute. Yeah, he came off the bench and scored.
So got away with. So keeps there, and you know, for people, again, it's a podcast, you can't see me, but I'm doing quotation marks. Title hopes still alive, although we all know it's Bayern Munich. You know, just as you know, Man City win against Arsenal keeps their title hopes alive. It's definitely Bayern Munich's title, but you know, came off again. Haaland scored another goal. It's good to see him score another goal. One of the best things to come out of Bundesliga this week, I think. Did you see that Frankfurt goal?
I'm not sure that I did actually.
Oh my word! Right, it was Silva that scored it. I say did I see it? I saw it, but I don't know who did what. But one player literally just took it past absolutely everyone in the area, and then before he squared it to Silva, and I think Silva just backheeled it in. Did you see it?
Yes, I did see it. Yes, fantastic goal.
Fair enough. Great goal.
Yeah.
Nothing really much more to come out of the Bundesliga, I think, this week. It was all...
No, I mean, the massive news to come out of the Bundesliga is Schalke didn't lose.
No, didn't win.
No,
so
they
I
didn't
ask
win.
you for the 5th podcast in a row, is it time for Wagner to leave?
I think if Wagner's still there, if he's still there now, he'll see out the season.
I was going to say, I feel like they've probably got a plan for after the season that doesn't involve him. So just as long as he doesn't get them relegated, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we didn't actually touch upon it. Coronavirus in Premier League. Norwich finished a game with Tottenham. They won 2-1. Admittedly, I think it was against the youth. Like, you know, when they bring off the youth for the last 15 minutes and they scored. And then was it like literally 24 hours later, Norwich like, yeah, we've got a player that's got coronavirus.
Oh yeah, and he played. Yeah,
Right.
but supposedly, I don't kind of understand it, but supposedly due to government rules, it's only him that has to self-isolate, not the rest of the team and not the Tottenham players.
No, because
they hadn't been in sustained contact with him for 50 minutes or something like that.
It's like 39 seconds at a time, I think it was, which means man marking on a corner or something like that, or if you're in a wall with him, and you know there's someone like Ronaldo who likes to do. Imagine like standing next to him with a Paul Pogba penalty. You stood next to him for like Lyle Taylor penalty. You stood next to him for at least 40 seconds there.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose the rules are rules, so who are we to criticise them?
No, that's fair enough. So our main segment of this podcast is getting up to speed with the Premier League up until coronavirus hit. It's just going to be a quick breeze through of the main talking points that happened in each month before the season ended, just to get a refresh. So hopefully when everyone's listening to this on Tuesday, the day before the Premier League returns, you're listening to this thinking, oh yeah, let's get it done. And obviously I know we're at least 2 listeners of the podcast, me and you, when it drops on Tuesday. So we'll be listening to it, even though I'm already so hyped, so I'm sure everyone is.
But yeah, you can just listen to it and kind of reminisce the season that's already been and just sort of build the excitement for what's still left to come.
That's our hope. That's our hope, that we can at least instill a little bit of excitement, a little bit of anticipation for the Premier League returning. Let's start where the season starts. August, it's sunny, no coronavirus in sight. Football is back after the summer off. Liverpool start off winning 4-1 against Norwich.
I remember that game. It had been a long summer because the only football there'd really been was the Women's World Cup, which had finished quite a long time before the Premier League and everything. Pre-season's good, you get the games, but it's not quite the football we know and love.
That's it, yeah.
But so I remember that Friday, long day at work. Go home, get changed, go into town, and at the pub with my mates, watching the Premier League on a Friday night, weekend. Yeah, and then it was a fantastic game to start as well.
Yeah, we touched upon it last week. Norwich lost 4-1, but really, really good. I thought they played very, very well. Unlucky to... The scoreline doesn't reflect, I think, the quality that Norwich put on.
Yeah, I seem to remember that they conceded a fair few early goals that game, so they were already out of it before they kind of played themselves back into it. But it was a very good game, and I think Norwich, fair play to them for going out and attacking the big teams.
Yeah,
because as we'll touch on a little bit later, it got them results.
Yes, that's very true. We talk about Man City won 5-0 against West Ham. Very comprehensive. There was a controversial decision with VAR. Sterling's armpit was offside. Little did we know that VAR would become... Oh, wow. That would become a staple of VAR throughout the whole season. Is your armpit or your shoelace is offside. Oh, no, you can score with your shoelace.
Yeah, but it was the start.
I don't get.
No, it was the start of a long season of controversial VAR decisions.
A real love affair with VAR, and not... I say love affair. Ooh, it was not good. But yeah, again, Man City, Liverpool, both starting off, scoring, 5-0, 4-1. We talk about Man United beat Chelsea 4-0. That was quite a good start as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, because obviously Chelsea had the transfer ban, and so Frank Lampard's come in and playing a lot of his young players, which I don't think people were really expecting to perform as well as they turned out they have.
Start, yeah.
But yeah, they started against a decent United team and they got blown away 4-0, and people were thinking, maybe, is this a season of Chelsea sort of mediocrity, mid-table?
Yeah. Has Frank Lampard bitten off more than he can chew? He's come from Derby straight into, listen, we wanted you to get promoted with Derby. We want you to get Champions League with Chelsea. That's a big step. He stepped up to it. I'll give him that.
But obviously, and at that stage as well, Dan James was the star of the show. He was fantastic that game. I remember he started the season very well, and people are thinking 15 million for Dan James. That's an absolute bargain.
He is so quick.
He is rapid.
So quick.
I would argue he's probably the second fastest player in the league. Right. You've got to know who's first.
What, Aubameyang?
Nah, Adama Traore.
Oh yeah. What I was talking about? Yeah. Yes, Traore. Yeah, again, we'll touch upon that a bit later.
Yeah.
We come on to the second week, obviously, because what we didn't mention is I believe Alisson got injured against Norwich. So
yes, wasn't it taking a goal kick? He injured his leg.
No, because he was out for a while.
He was out for a long time.
And obviously in the
summer, calf injury, I think.
They got rid of... So Liverpool got rid of Karius. I think Bogdan went somewhere. Mignolet got sold.
Mignolet got sold to Club Bruges, and
he's had a good season at Club Bruges,
yeah. But just before the season started, so they sold Mignolet, brought Adrian in,
on a free as well. Got released by West Ham, so didn't pay.
And within a few minutes of the season started, he's playing.
He's straight in. He's right to the cop end. And at the time, I'm sure maybe Liverpool fans are going to look at him a little bit differently now. At the time, you're thinking on a free compared to the backup keepers they've had before, Karius and Mignolet. Solid backup keeper, I think.
I think he's a good...
Yeah, let's keep him at backup. Let's not start him in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid. But if you can help it... Oh, hold on! Spoiler alert! They did, and it didn't go well. And we talk about more VAR. This is the second. We're talking the second week of the Premier League starting, and there's already more VAR controversy with Man City denied a late winner
against City.
Man City and Tottenham. They love the VAR, don't they?
Yeah.
Because I remember Tottenham tweeted about that, going like, "Phew," and like it's happened again.
Yeah.
They were denied a late win against Tottenham. But Laporte, it was a corner when it came. I think it just came through and hit his arm.
Kind of hit his arm. It's ball to hand.
Yeah.
But the new rules state that's...
If it's... what's the new rule, isn't it? It's if it's a handball, in the opposition's area, which leads to a goal, it's ruled out. However, it's a handball in your own area. That's accidental. It's not a penalty.
Yeah, but I don't get it, because surely you can't have a free kick being given for something. You can't have a foul being committed by a handball on one part of the pitch and not another.
Yeah, no, exactly. But that, again, little did we know, this would not be the last time we talk about VAR. And another thing to note as well, Harry Wilson scored a stupid free kick against Man City.
Yes, I remember I was up at yours for that, the August bank holiday, and it was, Bournemouth against Man City. I think Man City went on to win quite comfortably in the end, but what a free kick that was from him. And he's a talented lad. We've seen him at Hull City, we've seen him at Derby, and he's doing brilliantly for Bournemouth as well. The interesting thing, looking at the table at the end of August, is you look at Wolves, 4th from bottom, 3 points. Yeah. Now, I think that might be related to they started their season earlier because they had the Europa League to get into, that kind of thing. Yeah. But that's the big difference compared to now and then, that Wolves were 17th. You can also maybe look at Palace were 4th, or West Ham being in the top 7.
Yeah. But a lot. I know, again, difference. It's August, it's early start, but I know there was a lot of tweets that have probably been deleted since then that have been like, oh, maybe the honeymoon period is worn off for Wolves. Thinking, I still didn't believe that. No. I didn't believe that. I think they were still going to be a driving force, especially with someone like Raul Jimenez up front.
Absolutely.
Moving on to September, we know Chelsea beat Wolves 5-2, and the thing to come out of that game was Tomori scored an absolute worldie of a goal.
Yeah, first goal for Chelsea. Remember, the ball comes in from the right, just along the floor. He must be 25, 30 yards out at least. Just sort of wraps his foot around it, over the keeper, and fantastic goal. Amazing way to score your first Premier League goal.
Yeah. I don't think there's been many debut goals better than that.
No.
I can't off the top of my head. Maybe that's a segment to talk about, but that will be probably top.
That must be right up there.
Top 5,
right
yeah. And another thing to note, obviously in a personal reason as well, this Norwich beating Man City 3-2. For those of you that don't know, I have my partner Lana. She also edits the podcast. Big shout out to Lana. She does amazing for us.
Thank you for doing an amazing job.
She does amazing for us. She pregnant, and we were having a baby shower. But literally before everyone came in, or as people were coming in, we've got me, you, Joe, and her brother Owen sat in the living room watching the Norwich game, going, "Oh my god, I like that." You got people in the kitchen, conversing how you would do at a party, talking
baby
to
shower,
people. And at the baby shower, funny enough, Lana gave birth, I think, 3 days after the baby shower. Yeah. She was in. There's a fun fact for you. I say fun fact for you. He's got no. When we say we talk about football and pretty much nothing else, well, here's the slight something else. Yeah, if I'm talking about my son, it counts because he's going to be a top footballer. He's going to be a centre back,
England captain.
He absolutely will. Jake, remember the name. She was in labour during the whole baby shower. I can't believe it. I still can't believe it. Anyway, that's enough about me. And Norwich beat Man City. It was a cracking. What a game that was.
What a game. Brilliant
game.
What
I remember from the beginning of the season as well is that Pukki was scoring goals. He was carrying on his championship form into the Premier League. A lot of people had him in your fantasy teams going, there you go, Pukki. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's did much since.
He started off very well, but he's kind of gone off the boil a little bit since.
Yeah, and, Man City respond by battering Watford 8-0.
Yeah, they did do that, didn't they?
5-0 after 17 minutes. That was mauling, absolute mauling, battering that. And another thing to note as well was Dean Henderson against Liverpool. Sheffield United Liverpool. They were doing really well, holding their own. Yeah. Went through his legs. I was driving.
Yeah,
I was driving that day, I think. I remember over the 5 Live. It was like, oh my god! I'm like, what?
No, it was massively unfortunate for someone who's had such an amazing season.
Incredible season, and that did not something like that early in the season could really damage the confidence of a young keeper like that.
Yeah.
Boy,
first
did it
season
not.
in the Premier League.
He did not.
Yeah, no, exactly. And come the end of that month, obviously Liverpool played 7, won 7, already 5 points clear after 7 games.
Stupid, isn't it? Yeah.
Then, again, a big difference. West Ham are up in 5th come the end of September.
There was an interview with Mark Noble, I think. They were like, why can't we challenge for Europa? Why can't we challenge for Europe? Well, we'll tell you why soon.
Yeah. And then you got Sheffield United about 12th. They're starting slow. And Wolves are slowly edging up the table, up into 13th now, 7 points from 7 games.
That's right, yeah. So It was an interesting table. Obviously, the tables to look at the beginning, at the beginning of the season, don't fully reflect. I mean, Watford and Aston Villa are still in relegation. Newcastle are there. Norwich are there. Brighton are there. That company there still has largely remained the same. But yeah.
So starting off in October, there was an extremely attacking game, which I'm not sure many people would have been too aware of. It was Norwich 1, Aston Villa 5. It was one of the most attacking games of football I've ever watched. It holds a record for, in the first half, it had 28 shots, which is the record of any single half in a Premier League match.
In the first half, that is...
And only 2 of the 6 goals came in the first half.
Oh, wow. Right, okay.
Yeah. And then the same weekend, Liverpool were quite lucky to beat Leicester. I seem to remember that they had a late penalty, which was very controversial. Could well have been a dive. But Milner does what Milner does from a penalty spot, and he put it away and they won the game. Same weekend, Man City are losing points on Liverpool. They've now lost at home to Wolves, with Adama Traore, the fastest player in the league, scoring twice. I think there were 2 counter-attack goals. They might have only had 2 or 3 shots, at least on target, that game. But
yeah, Traore at the time wasn't... He was quick and he was a powerful player. I think that was no doubt. But I don't think he really showed his finishing.
He didn't really have the numbers to back it up, did he?
No.
He's had a very good season,
yes,
and those numbers have grown.
Yeah, I've read a lot of I've read some interviews that a lot of players just do not like playing against him. He's not just strong, but he is quick.
And he will take you on. He will take you on. It's not he's going to pass it around.
And if you literally have to take him out of the legs. He's
got a deadly cross on him as well.
He's got a lot better. Yeah, he's a lot better.
Yeah. And also that same weekend, it was a busy week. This one. I'm sure you remember it. Hugo Lloris dislocating his elbow in a 3-0 defeat away at Brighton.
I do remember that because that was the first time my mum was meeting Jacob. My mum and dad were meeting Jacob. They were coming up from Kent. They surprised my nan and granddad was also there as well. They surprised me. It was lovely. Yeah. And I was doing some shopping in Sainsbury's just as the first half, as it was starting. I was just doing some shopping because I needed, Lana was still home. Jacob was still very, very young. She couldn't go out too much. So we phone buzzed 1-0 and I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. And then it was like, I wish I didn't see the replay.
Oh, it was horrible. It was a horrible injury.
Yeah, and they come up. One thing to note: Mum and Dad are Tottenham fans. Like, God, we have a dog called Alfie who hates it when football's on, especially when Tottenham are on, because he just shakes. He shakes. He gets so tense because my mum and dad are so into it. Yeah, we stuck it on, and then 2-0, 3-0. It was lucky that they were meeting Jacob for the first time there because they were a bit distracted from the game. But shocking. Yeah. It was. That was.
Thing is, knowing your mum, she probably still thought it was a bad day because Tottenham lost.
Yeah, that's the saddest she's ever been holding Jacob. Yeah. So I believe that was pretty much the beginning of the end for Poch, from what I remember. Yeah. But we'll touch upon that when it comes to it.
Then you've got Liverpool in the next week. They dropped their first points of the season. It was against Man United, and I seem to remember they were relatively lucky to get a point from that game. And Adam Lallana scored 15-20 minutes to go.
Right. I can't. Do you know what? In all fairness, I just genuinely can't remember that game.
Yeah, I remember I was up at yours watching it.
God, that makes it worse.
No, it wasn't a fantastic game.
No, I can't really remember too much.
I seem to remember that United could have potentially got a player sent off, which went to VAR but didn't get given.
And then next week, I think match of the season.
So it was a Friday.
Well, not for Southampton fans. Let's just say that.
No, if you're a Southampton fan, I think there's a button in the bottom right-hand corner that says skip forward 15 seconds. If you press that 2 or 3 times, you'll be much happier. So, presumably that they've done that by now. Leicester won 9-0 away at Southampton.
Word. I've never seen such a game.
No. I think they were down to 10 men within about 15 minutes. It was also 3-0 by that point. And
everyone was scoring.
Leicester didn't give up.
Nope.
They didn't take the foot off the gas and they just absolutely battered them. That's the biggest... I think I'm right in saying it's the biggest away win in Premier League history.
Yeah, well, I can't.
It may even be the biggest win.
Yeah. No, because I think I read somewhere that Kasper Schmeichel and Peter Schmeichel both played in 9-0 games. Whether it was against, I think United was against Ipswich. I don't know if they were away, but provided now Southampton fans are now back with us after the 45 minutes that they've skipped. 45. One thing, yes, Leicester did not give up, and that was such an easy game to sack Southampton's manager, Ralph Hasenhüttl. They didn't. And
they didn't.
Fair play. Fair play.
It's turned out to be the right decision. He's a brilliant manager. So the big event that also happened that weekend was Granit Xhaka getting subbed off for Arsenal, club captain, and he's getting booed, he's getting jeered, and he walks straight down the tunnel. Club captain.
Well, he didn't just walk straight down the tunnel, did he? He may have said a few swears towards the fans.
Did he not take his shirt off and throw it to the ground?
I think something like that, and he waved his arms to the crowd, being like, "Come on, and give me more." Something like that. You don't do that, club captain. No matter what.
Club captain. No. And I think he's since been replaced as club captain, hasn't he?
He was stripped off the club captain. Aubameyang,
rightfully
club
so.
captain for Arsenal now.
Yeah. So the league table come the end of October, a lot of it's pretty similar to where it is now until you scroll all the way down. You see in 16th, Everton. Marco Silva's reign at Everton obviously didn't go to plan. They've since brought in Ancelotti. And I mean, first of all, what a signing as a manager.
Wow.
He's won pretty much everything there is to win in football. And he's gone to Merseyside and not the side you'd expect him to go to.
He was linked with Arsenal as well, wasn't he, at one point? I can't remember. I don't know if he was sacked October, November. I can't remember when the manager left, but it was Arsenal or Everton.
Yeah. When Emery was under fire. Yeah, definitely. But so they're 16th and they were 2 points off the drop zone at that stage. And also Southampton are in the bottom three, which they've ducked by Hasenhüttl and they've lifted out of that. They've lifted out of danger, really.
Very, very true.
So first weekend in November, the biggest talking point, the only real major talking point, is Heung-min Son unfortunately breaking Andre Gomez's leg. It was a horrific injury.
No intent, from what I remember.
No intent at all. And I remember Heung-min Son being in absolute bits,
inconsolable,
realising what he'd had a part to play.
From what I remember, I think it was Aurier kind of pushed. It was maybe a bit of a shove, and it all just kind of.
He was pushed into him, and it was just unfortunate how he landed on his leg. But a horrific injury, and thankfully, Andre Gomez seems to have made a full recovery.
He made quite a speedy recovery as well. He came back before. Well, he was playing football before the season was put on hold, and it was really good to see that he was back.
Yeah,
so
brilliant.
Fair play.
Yeah. Then going into the next weekend of football, the biggest game of the season at this stage, Liverpool versus Man City. Anything other than a Man City win would pretty much hand the title to Liverpool in November. And Liverpool go on to win.
Yep.
So Liverpool are 8 points clear in November. Man City are dropping points here and there. Liverpool aren't. Liverpool have dropped 2 points all season at this stage. They're going on to win the league, and I think most people know it at that stage. Then we come to an interesting week in football.
Yes.
Which is I'll let you talk about this one, Sam.
So I don't think losing to Bayern Munich 7-2 helped. Let's start with that. Tottenham weren't exactly. They've never recovered from the Champions League final, and I think that really, really shown at the start of this season. They just did not recover from that. You know, Lloris injured and Gazaniga's in goal. I think I remember Gazaniga having an absolute worldie of a game against Liverpool. Still lost it, but really good game against Liverpool. But there's no real consistency. In regards to, I think in hindsight, when you look at results, I think you've got to... Pochettino was a tricky one because he's one of the best modern managers Tottenham have ever had. You cannot deny that. He's completely transformed the team. But if you're looking at from the high ups point of view, and you're looking at the season, from even before the Champions League final, the form wasn't good. There was no real consistent form with Tottenham in winning. And Eriksen, he didn't look interested at all. I think Alderweireld didn't look very interested at all. Trippier played it wasn't very good last season. This season, Aurier, this didn't seem like it was a happy dressing room. So obviously big news was he was sacked. And I think within 24 or 48 hours, it was announced that Jose Mourinho was managing
Chelsea legend.
Tottenham. Literally Chelsea, Man United, and he's now at Tottenham. And I think it was not long after Mourinho took over. Eriksen still left, but Alderweireld started a new contract. Some contract signed, people coming out going,
There's a real kind of statement of intent by bringing in a big name manager like him.
Mourinho, he's a tricky one because, yes, he wins. He wins wherever he goes, he's won. Yet my favourite quote was that his biggest achievement in football was finishing second with that Man United team. A lot of people were like, come on. But when you look back, you think, my God, fair enough. And he's taken over at Spurs. They win their first game against West Ham. That alley pass. It's sick because he built Ali up, didn't he? He was like, is that you or is that your brother that's playing? I want to see the real Ali. And fair enough.
Yeah.
He seems to have been bringing best out of him, towards the start of his reign.
Yeah.
We'll see Poch again. I think Tyneside, is pretty much where he's destined to be. I do.
You think he's going to Newcastle if this
definitely
takeover goes through?
Yeah, 100%. There's no other club, I think, in the Premier League. Well, if the takeover goes through, yeah.
What about if the takeover doesn't go through? Man United.
Would that be harsh on Solskjaer?
I still don't see Solskjaer as a long-term fix at United.
You don't?
No.
No, I see what you mean.
I think the board at United are waiting for a slip up to sack him and bring in a big name manager.
But
you think of Man United, you think of Ferguson.
Yeah.
Solskjaer's not a big name, and I don't really think he can demand the respect of the dressing room like Ferguson or someone like that. Because Zidane, like a Pochettino, maybe could.
Yeah, I think there was a point, and we might even hit it. There was a point where Man United were hitting a slump, and I think it was a game against Chelsea that they won again.
Yes.
That they started to then show a bit more resilience, and there was a certain January signing that seems to have really picked them up again. We'll touch upon that, but yeah, that's really pretty much what happened in November, wasn't it? Nothing to shout about. Nothing really I can really think about. Again, Liverpool top of the league. Of course they were. Leicester was second. Wolves fifth. That's interesting enough. And West Ham where they
find themselves now.
Yeah, I feel like this table in November pretty much reflects the table in here now.
The two things I'd say to slightly argue that is, one, Watford at this stage are bottom of the league. And I remember at the time, they're 5 points from safety and they were looking like absolute no-hopers.
No, good. Yeah, no, fair point. Yeah.
Then they brought in Nigel Pearson, a turnaround in full.
Yeah.
And also Southampton down there in 19th, but they stuck. But they stuck by Hasenhüttl.
Yeah, that minus 18 goal difference.
Yeah,
9 of those were just one game.
Yeah, but I'm sure there were a lot of calls at that stage for Hasenhüttl to go, especially after another poor month.
Yeah,
but yeah, we'll see how he turns it around.
Stacked December, I think. December always is, really, when it comes to around Christmas. There's always about 5-6 games in like 10 days or something stupid like that when it comes to Christmas in the Premier League, although there was a bit of a winter break for the first time. There was a possible goal of the season in the first week 14 with De Bruyne against Newcastle.
Yes.
Still drew it 2-2, but oh my God, didn't he just bring it off the chest and volley it? Again, off the crossbar. You can't beat off the crossbar. You cannot beat it. And another thing to note as well, David Martin made his Premier League debut against West Ham. Quite a nice moment that, really, because he went to his dad in the crowd. He kept a clean sheet against Chelsea. 33 years old.
Premier League debut. Yeah, it was a really nice moment. I remember watching Match of the Day that weekend, and I think they interviewed him after the game, and he just seemed very genuine and so happy at that moment.
That's it. West Ham haven't exactly had a good season with keepers. Fabianski, who's their best one. Not only I don't think he's not only their best keeper. Well, obviously he is, but he's their best player, I think. He's up there. He saves more games than he lets in. Roberto was one of the worst. He must have won a competition like a cereal box to say, play for West Ham if you want. Because he was shocking. Oh my God, I've never seen a keeper so bad. And I know West Ham didn't exactly take to him. And obviously David Martin from Millwall, funnily enough.
Yeah.
He came from, started. Fair play to him. I know they brought in Randolph since.
I remember seeing a few tweets at the time from West Ham fans saying that the only way Roberto is still playing games for us is because they are desperate not to have an ex-Millwall player playing goal for us.
And they had to let up eventually because, again, sorry Roberto, but you were shocking. And then we go to the following week, Merseyside derby 5-2, Liverpool. What a stupid game that was. Brilliant game.
I just remember it being an absolutely incredible game. Like goals everywhere. Every time you look. No, fantastic game.
And then another controversial VAR/linesman moment. It was Shelvey against Sheffield United. Do you remember this? Linesman flagged for offside, and the players are obviously stopping, but there's no whistle. Still no whistle. And Shelvey runs through, shoots past Henderson. VAR review, he's not offside. Goal stands.
Marginally onside, yeah. And the players just didn't react to it. It was a really odd one.
In the Champions League, they don't put up their flag, do they?
Yeah, that's true. That's correct.
And obviously that rule hasn't been brought over.
Yeah, who knows?
I
think the Champions League handles VAR a lot better than the Premier League does anyway.
Still takes a bit of time, but I think one thing to note about VAR this season is the time that's taken, even for offsides that are like, you can see he's offside. You don't need VAR for that, but it takes about 2 minutes just for them to say, "Yep, no, that's fair enough." And I think it demeans the linesman slightly, because if there is a clear offside, don't get me wrong, VAR has made it's with the Sheffield United Shelvey goal, the VAR has shown an error from the linesman. Yeah. Fair enough. But then when you see like there's a player that's like, shoulder is quite a bit offside, he's running, the linesman puts his flag up, and then they still have to have a VAR review of it. You think, I can do my job.
Yeah, no, I get you on that. Yeah, that was a really odd one with that Shelvey goal, because even Henderson in goal stops. He makes no attempt to save the ball. I wouldn't even call it a shot. He just kind of played it past. I don't think he expected it to be given as a goal, but. Yeah, by the letter of the law, there's no reason to rule that goal out.
No, he was onside, so fair enough. Yeah. And interestingly enough, the next week as well, obviously, De Bruyne thought, I scored the goal of the season. He absolutely did not, because, in my opinion, Heung-min Son, currently, and this is an absolute worldie when the football comes back from Wednesday, Heung-min Son scored the goal of the season against Burnley. He picked up the ball from his own art. He picked up the ball from literally outside of his own penalty area. He took on every single Burnley player and their mums and dads. They could have been in there as well. He's going through them. He's going past them, and he scores. I think they won 5-0 in the end. But oh my God, what a goal! Fantastic. I love solo goals like that.
I mean, I'd have to disagree. I'd still go with De Bruyne. I prefer a sort of world-class strike of a ball than taking on the team. It's just more. It's more. Yeah, it just looks better to me.
Fair enough. Are you a Ronaldo or a Messi? Sorry.
Yeah, I am a Messi fan.
Right, okay. So,
it's a little bit different, isn't it?
No, I think what made that goal so satisfying is that he took a touch to get away from the two defenders, and you've got a player coming in to slide tackle. Then he takes the touch to the other side, and he's still slide tackling, but Heung-min Son's like in front of the keeper. Like, that's what made that goal, and the composure as well. He just calm. He's just run the length of the pitch, but he's still calm. Finds the corner. What a goal! I think. Yeah, and
fantastic goal
that week as well. Man United. Apologies. I think it was this game where Solskjaer started to. Maybe. Hold on, he's come back. They beat Man City 2-1 in the derby. Big result. Big result. To go into Man City's backyard and, beat them at the Etihad, that's get more points lost for Man City, sorry. You should be winning.
Yeah, it seems like the wheels are well and truly coming off at the Etihad.
Yeah, that's it. We got Bournemouth beating Chelsea. They seem to love Chelsea. They love Chelsea, don't they, Bournemouth? Yeah. For some reason, they seem to beat them every season. Nothing really much more. I know De Bruyne had a really good game against Arsenal.
So that game it was over by half time. It was 3-0 at half time. Yeah. De Bruyne had scored 2 world-class goals. I think they were both from outside the box, and he then assisted the other goal. And in the second half, he was Leno's fingertips away from scoring one of the best hat-tricks you will ever see. Yeah. It was an absolute amazing shot. Leno, fair play to him, made a fantastic save.
He's been really good for Arsenal, Leno.
He has.
He's made up for their shocking defence. Yeah. He has. Fair play to him. We go from that goalkeeping, heroics of Leno to De Gea not making an incredible account of himself against Watford. He just went right through his hands, from what I remember.
Yeah, he stood in his near post. He's got 2 hands to it, and it's gone between them, and it's in the back of the net.
He's been an interesting player this season. If we were to touch upon De Gea, I know there's a lot of talk of if he's the best goalkeeper in the world. I know me and you, we disagree with that. I think we've got the same. I've got Oblak.
Jan Oblak,
you're
comfortably.
100% Oblak as well. I know that.
Absolutely.
I don't think he really has not been the De Gea of previously this season. I think that's to say when you could touch upon Lloris in the same category as that. He's lost a lot of points from mistakes that you expect him not to make.
I don't think De Gea's quite been right since the 2018 World Cup. I seem to remember he had a poor World Cup and pretty much every shot on target was going past him. And that's gone into his league form of the last couple of seasons. And who knows, is Henderson going back to United maybe what gets him back to his former glory? Maybe. Or does Henderson go above him?
Based on Solskjaer's kind of management, like he likes to use the youth. He's brought Greenwood in. He's brought the McTominay. He's pretty much a staple in that centre mid. He's got good out of Fred this season. Give credit there. I think so. I think you give Henderson maybe a run in. Let's let's say for argument's sake they get the Europa League. They use De Gea as the Premier League, Henderson as Europa League. He starts showing some performances in the Europa League. Hold on. De Gea's maybe done something in the Premier League that's not good. Let's give Henderson a go. One thing I think to say about the De Gea-Henderson argument is Henderson, I think, is coming back to United next season. I think he's staying and fighting for his spot. Right. I think it's obvious. I think it's very... A person I don't think gets talked about a lot is Romero.
Yeah, he's a very good backup.
He is, I think, the best backup goalkeeper, should I say, in the world.
At Real Madrid, they've got Areola, who's a decent goalkeeper.
PSG. Oh, Juventus have got Buffon and Szczesny. Szczesny, I know, has done very well at Juve. Probably not. But Buffon's obviously getting on.
He's probably the best backup keeper in the league.
100% in the league, yeah. I think he's very, very good. And when Henderson, does come back into De Gea, I do think it's quite not unfair, because I don't think Romero was ever going to be number one at United. No, but it's a shame, because he's been that Europa League keeper, he's been that cup keeper, and he's always performed.
See, if I was in charge at Man United, it might sound a bit rash, but I would probably look to keep Henderson, have him as number one for the next decade at least, and try and cash in on De Gea, try and get 50 mil, try and get 60 mil, however much they can get for him. Maybe PSG. PSG's the main one that I can think of. But yeah, if you can get 50, 60 mil for him and use that money to reinvest into different players, then I think that will be a good move from United.
Very true. Man City beat Leicester in the race for second place. Obviously not race for top, because that's still very much occupied by Liverpool. Yeah. And then it was a tough week. It was a tough week for Leicester, because they had Man City. Then the next week, they got Liverpool, which I was expecting to be a hell of a lot closer than it was. No, yes, Liverpool absolutely dominated them. Alexander-Arnold had a cracking game that game, I remember. And it seems like, Leicester's starting to, come off a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
Still up there now, yeah.
And then the same weekend, the team who they'd been beaten by last week, Man City, lose at Wolves from 2-0 up. Seem to remember Ederson getting sent off. Yep. 2-0 up at half time. I want to say 2-0 up at half time.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, they were definitely 2-0 up.
And I think Bravo had a moment of madness or two and kind of just lost his head. And I remember that being another fantastic game this season.
Yeah, no, I do remember that. Those limbs and behind. I always love a lot a comeback goal like that. And obviously, Chelsea beat Arsenal. I remember 2 late goals from Chelsea in there. Looking at the league table in December, I think it's very, Liverpool, we know we're there. Man United and Tottenham are still very close to top 4. Man United are 4 points off Tottenham at 5. Wolves joint with Tottenham, and obviously Sheffield United are creeping. Big note as well, Everton up to 10th.
Yes.
Quite away from the relegation. Watford have moved off the foot with Norwich going to the bottom. Bournemouth, you look at it, Southampton are out. They started to find a bit of form. Arsenal were 12th.
Yes.
Newcastle are above them, yeah.
Arsenal is the biggest difference that I can spot, really. Yeah. The rest kind of looks to be similar to what it is now, give or take a few positions.
January transfer window of note. Bruno Fernandes obviously is the big one. Big one.
Yes. Yep.
Tottenham bought in Bergwijn or Steven Bergwijn.
Yeah.
He had a debut to remember as well. He he scored his debut goal against Man City, but I think we'll come to that.
And Jarrod Bowen.
Jarrod Bowen. I didn't want to bring that up, Ellie. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think he's got a big future in the Premier League.
You do? Yeah. If West Ham stay in the Premier League.
I think he's got a big future in the Premier League, regardless.
Starting off, obviously, Sheffield United at Anfield. That's a shame. I thought, you thought maybe, but no, Liverpool just 2-0.
Yeah.
And Liverpool, they go a year unbeaten in the league.
Because it was Man City the previous season that they last lost.
Wow.
And
Tottenham, again, unconvincing. They lose 1-0 to Southampton. Didn't Danny Ings take it round Alderweireld, flicked it over him and then volleyed into the corner?
Yeah, Danny Ings scored again. Yeah.
Yes, that tends to be a running theme from January onwards, along with a certain Calvert-Lewin.
Yes.
Nothing really too much, I think, that's notable in January. Again, Man City won 6-1 against Aston Villa.
Yeah, just absolutely blew them away. If I remember rightly, I think they were 4-0 up at half time.
Yeah.
It's one of those sort of trademark Man City performances where they just completely blow the team away by half time, game's over and done with.
And interestingly enough, Southampton go to Leicester and win. Not
Yes.
as comfortably as Leicester did, but Ings again scored, kept on going. Obviously, week 23, match week 23, Liverpool against Man United, 2-0 win, comfortable again. I can't really say, there's nothing really I can say too much about Liverpool until a certain game that's coming up. That it's just, they've win
It's
or...
just win or win. The one real remaining moment of January was Newcastle against Everton at Goodison Park. Everton cruising going into the last few minutes. They're into stoppage time, 2-0 up. I think Newcastle had one shot on target by that stage. Somehow it ends 2-2.
Yeah, it was like it was 2-0 in like the 93rd minute, and in the 95th it was 2-2.
Yeah, I remember at the time seeing an Everton fan. They posted like a screenshot or something at the time showing like 92 minutes, 55 seconds. And they said, this is the time that I left the game. How do I explain to my son that we didn't win this?
It was 2 corners as well. It was 2 set. But one of them I thought I remember was a bit of a scramble. But it was just 2 set pieces. It was a corner, and then you go on the centre. You do, every team does it. You play in the corner, don't you? You play about. But no, Newcastle into attack, got another corner straight away. Same defender, Lejeune. Lejeune scored both goals. So what a match.
That is the definition of a snatch and grab result.
Huge. Fair play to Newcastle there. They ended that month in 14th. Again, Man City, the top 4 remains the same. Man United 5th, Tottenham 6th, Wolves. Again, everything's remained the same. Arsenal went into 10th, top half. Woo, well done. Everton,
just below Southampton.
Yes, who literally the month before lost 9-0. So,
yeah,
congratulations. Nothing really much more to say about January, is there?
At the bottom half of the league, West Ham are down 4 from bottom, which is where they've kind of sat since.
Looking at the table, though, the 19th to 17th, all on 23 points.
There's only 4 goals in it on the goal difference as well. Yeah, big months coming up.
Yes.
So the biggest talking point of the first weekend in February is Spurs beating Man City 2-0 at home, which Sam's already touched on. Bergwijn's debut, scoring on his debut, involved in a win against Man City.
Not a bad way to start your career.
Yeah.
Tottenham again were in a massive talking point the next week, purely because Aston Villa
can't defend.
Aston Villa defender can't boot a ball away.
Yeah, I seem to remember he tried to touch it maybe with the side of his foot. And
skidded right under, didn't it?
Maybe just didn't anticipate it wouldn't bounce as high as he thought.
Yeah.
It's gone underneath his foot, and I think it was Son through on goal. And tucks it past the keeper.
Again, composure, he's very good like that. I'm going to bring you into this one. So, a little bit of knowledge about my good friend Elliot here. He loves Harry Maguire. He absolutely loves him. If you go to his Twitter page, his header is literally a team of Harry Maguires in the England setup.
It's the England squad of the 2018 World Cup, and everyone apart from Gareth Southgate has Harry Maguire.
My son is called Jacob. Now, this was not common knowledge to people who aren't obsessed with Harry Maguire. My son is called Jacob, and Elliot, I think one of the first things he ever said when I told him what the name was going to be when we found it was a boy, well, you know Harry Maguire's real name is Jacob Harry Maguire. And I was like, I did not know. And then you kept on bringing it up. It got to the point where we were thinking about renaming him because it was like, oh my God.
You're going to rename him Harry.
So, no, absolutely not. That's your boy, was it your boy's name is Harry and your girl's name is Harriet? So the reason why I bring that up because I want to hear Elliot's opinion. He probably told me in February when it happened, but just for old time's sake, Man United win away at Chelsea, big win. Yeah. One of the talking points was Harry Maguire scored, but should he have been sent off? Now, if you can visualise it in your head, Batshuayi and Maguire are both going for the ball. I think it's going off, tumble over. Now, Maguire sticks out a boot. He looks like he's kicking his boot out. And it gets Batshuayi, studs into Batshuayi. Elliot, VAR looked at that and said no. What do you think?
I think, seeing as it went to VAR, I think he was lucky not to be sent off. I don't think there was the intention to kick out at Batshuayi, cause harm, but he's made a movement towards him, which by the rules should be a red card. But
I didn't ask by the rules, Elliot. I didn't ask by the rules.
Yeah, it's it's a red card and he probably should have been sent
I
off.
think it was
But
definitely.
I think it's just instinct. If you've got somebody falling onto you, you protect yourself, and that movement was moving your leg towards him.
That's what he said in the interview, and you could see by his face that he was like, "I absolutely got away with one here," because his excuse was that as he's falling backwards, he sees Batshuayi coming towards him, so he then kicks his boot out to stop him from falling on him. Come on.
No.
Yeah.
No, it is a red card, but I don't think he's intended to catch him as he has.
Doesn't seem the type, does he?
No.
A big talking point. Well, week 28 had two big talking points. First one was Man United got a point at Goodison. Now, Sigurdsson, was this offside?
So I've just explained by the letter of the law how Harry Maguire should have been offside, and I'm going to explain now how I think Everton should have been awarded that goal.
Yeah.
Because everything in the offside rule, I remember looking this up at the time, looking into the wording and the detailing of it. Very sort of nerdy, but all the wording around offside is making a movement towards the ball, and Sigurdsson has done the opposite. Sigurdsson has moved his leg out of the way. He's made a movement away from the ball.
Yeah.
And I don't think it can come under the wording of being in the goalkeeper's eye line, blocking his view of the ball.
Yeah.
Because Sigurdsson's on the floor and De Gea's head's probably about, as he's crouched, maybe 4 or 5 feet above the ground. He can see it all the way.
Yeah.
And as Sigurdsson hasn't made a movement towards the ball, I think that goal should stand and Everton should get the win.
To add a bit of balance to the argument, I agree. I think it should have been a goal. I do. I don't think he wasn't trying. I don't think he was there to purposely put off anyone. He moved away from it. But if I had to put in, again, this is what we do, putting some balance into it. Two things. One, what is he still doing on the floor? Like, get up and move out of the way. Yeah. That didn't help at all. Because his moment had kind of gone. He needed to move. Did he obstruct De Gea's eye line towards the goal?
I
don't know. The only person that can tell you that is probably De Gea, because he's the one that's looking if he can see the ball. Now, Sigurdsson isn't exactly big, massive. I think De Gea can see who's got the ball and where the ball is. Granted, when because he shot near post. Right. At that point, I could probably see where he might not fully see where the ball's coming from until last second. But Sigurdsson has moved out of the way.
Yeah.
He has not gone towards the ball in an offside position, but you do have that argument of is he obstructing the eye line of the goalkeeper, which I think was probably the reason it got ruled out. It was something like that. I don't think it was offside. Or something like that. I do think the goal should stand. Obviously, my opinion, obviously, what you said, I think it is. But again, at the end of the day, it got ruled out. Man United got away with a point.
What you're saying about the obstructing his eye line, I remember seeing a tweet at the time, fantastic tweet from an Everton fan, showing their TV, and they were sat on the sofa, and they'd lobbed a sofa cushion on the floor, and they said, "Oh, I wish I could have watched the game. My eyesight was obstructed by this sofa cushion."
But the biggest talking point, not just of this month but of the season, is Watford beating Liverpool 3-0. Not just a snatch and grab. They were comfortable beating Liverpool in this game.
Yes, I seem to remember that Liverpool had a couple of sort of lucky games before they'd edged past West Ham in the previous game. I think that at that stage they played the first leg against Atletico Madrid and not got a good result. And it just seemed like the luck was running out and it was a matter of time. They played fantastically. I think it's Marley Sarr.
Sarr played like very, very good.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And from what I remember, they deserved to win. Yeah. And Liverpool, fair play to them, only dropping 2 points up until the end of February.
Yeah, I know a lot of fans. I know Arsenal were probably the biggest supporters of that. They tweeted more, I think, than Watford did with the not scoring in. I know a lot of rival fans. Gary Neville did the corkscrew
champagne.
The champagne of the thing. But to go to February and lose your first game is some achievement, considering that they've only drawn one as well. So to this point, so they ended. We ending February, played 28, won 26.
Yes.
Even the Arsenal Invincibles, invincible, no doubt. Still not been replicated to go a whole season unbeaten is a phenomenal achievement. But from what I read about it, I can't say I remember it, but from what I see about it, in history, there was a lot of draws.
I think it was 11 or 12 draws. It was a lot of draws.
Still unbeaten, still won the league.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
They had they're the only team with that golden trophy, so fair play. But 26 wins. That, you know, they're in February and they're on 79 points. Now, when Leicester won the league, they only won it with like 81, 82 points or something like that, didn't they?
And they've still got 3 months left of the season at this stage.
That's it.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Absolutely amazing.
So now going into March, where season got stopped.
This will be a short one.
Yeah, there was only one game week that was played, and Man United beat Man City again.
Yeah.
Scott McTominay,
yes,
fantastic goal.
Ellison throwing it out. I can't. Right, I watch it back and I'm still trying to think, who was he throwing it to?
Yeah, yeah.
But good instincts by McTominay. Like, he's running full power at it into the goal.
And it's a brilliant finish, yeah. Then you've got Leicester winning again, and Liverpool were back to winning ways by beating Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I think Bournemouth went ahead early on, but Liverpool brought it round and won again.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. And then it was due to be, was it Arsenal-Newcastle, I want to say, was the game it was meant to be. I think so, on that Friday night.
When Mikel Arteta
was announced that he
positive.
Because a lot of, to that point, a lot of leagues were calling it off or at least postponing, but Premier League was still like, no, we'll do it. Mikel Arteta obviously got tested positive, and that put the season on hold.
Now, I think that moment, obviously, it's massively bad news that Arteta did test positive.
Yep.
But I think that moment may have potentially saved a lot of lives.
Yes, I agree.
That weekend was going to be a normal weekend of football where you've got tens of thousands of fans travelling the length and width of the country to support their teams in enormous stadiums all packed together.
Yeah.
And you'd have heard the criticisms about Liverpool against Atletico Madrid second leg, Cheltenham Festival, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But another weekend of football up and down the country could have raised these numbers enormously.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was really it for March. So when we preview, now, we're not obviously going to preview it now, we did at the beginning, but looking at the table as it stands now, you know, Liverpool are
25 points clear.
25 points clear. If they lose it, I cannot fathom what would happen if Liverpool lose this time. Twitter will literally explode.
Can I just put into context, I know it was a long time ago, but just so you kind of realise just how enormous a moment it was. Liverpool not winning the league is lower odds than Leicester were to win the league.
Is it really? Wow. Yeah. Now, obviously, Man City still do have that game in hand against Arsenal, who are sat in ninth. Arsenal and Tottenham, 41 points. I don't think they're getting top four this season. I think it is a battle between Chelsea, United. Sheffield United and Wolves are on 43. It's a little bit off. It's interesting because Matt, from what I've read, Man City had the Champions League trial, right. And they're now coming together. I think beginning of July or mid-July, they're going to come up with a decision whether they are actually banned. Right. So currently, as it stands, they are still banned. Which means that fifth place is a
potentially up for grabs.
Jet of gold, like an absolute opportunity to get Champions League. If we're looking at that, down Crystal Palace in 11th, Burnley, Arsenal, Tottenham, Sheffield United, Wolves and Man United in 5th. There is 6 points between them.
6 points between 6 places.
And Crystal Palace, Burnley are a part of that as well.
7 places.
I still think I want Sheffield United to do it.
Yes.
Well, I think the top four as it is, my personal opinion, I think that is how it's finishing. To be fair, I think that is how it's probably going to finish. Maybe Chelsea and Leicester swap, but I think that is the top four. Obviously, we said last week as well, we touched upon it. You've gone, I think, Norwich, Aston Villa, Bournemouth to go down.
That's correct, yeah.
I've gone...
I know you've gone West Ham instead of...
Aston Villa.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought Bournemouth gone down, Norwich, Bournemouth and... West Ham, I think.
Very close, though.
Yes.
3 points between 18th, 17th and 16th.
And obviously it kicks off both, Sheffield United, Aston Villa. That's a big game for Sheffield United. They win that, they go to 5th.
Yes.
Aston Villa win that, they're out of the relegation zone. It's all to play for in that game. So that's a good game to start with, and I am very much looking forward to it.
So what would be your prediction for 5th at this stage? Presuming at this stage that 5th would be a Champions League spot, which of course we don't know at this stage.
I want Sheffield United, but I think it's Man United. I think Man United are getting 5th. Yeah, I just think they've got, since Bruno, I've not known really one player to make such an impact straight away as Bruno Fernandes has. And I think you get a fit Paul Pogba who wants to play, Fernandes, get Rashford's obviously come back. Greenwood's decent. He's got some form. Martial, you get him scoring. I think it I think that outdoes Sheffield United and Wolves.
Again, I'd want Sheffield United, but I think Wolves. I think they're kind of go a little bit under the radar, but I can see it happening. And if they don't get Champions League through, finishing top 4, top 5, they could well potentially, if they do finish off the European tournaments this year, they could well win the Europa League and qualify through that way.
Who knows? Exactly right. Yeah, they've cracking season Europa League, Wolves. So fingers crossed to them. So to end the podcast, as always, we come to No Context News, where me and Elliot challenge each other to find the most random news headline from around the world that really starts to make us think. Elliot doesn't know what I go for. I don't know what Elliot goes for. We just say the headline and end the podcast. This week is my turn. I've gone for Metro News this week, and I've gone for the headline which follows: Man with horse and cart furious after being refused service at KFC drive-thru. Right, thank you. That's the end of the podcast. We thank you very much for listening. We hope you're as excited for the start of the Premier League as we are. My name is Sam.
And I'm Elliot.
We are TO Goal Podcast on Twitter. Please give us a follow if you like what you hear. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Cheers.
See you later.